Okay, let's begin. I am Lanice Antoine Shelley, and I'll be your host through constructive, healing-based conversations designed to illuminate the adoptee, parents, and the adoption curious. We center the topics around community, mentorship, leadership, and healing, so you get a multi-dimensional view that is ultimately empowering. These are the voices who could not speak when they were young. Hey y'all, if you've seen me on Instagram, I'm in my summer glow phase and I am unapologetic about it. My hair is luscious. Fun fact, I didn't start properly treating and doing my own hair until I was a grown adult because like many Black adoptees, no one showed me how to do my own hair. And because I love you all so much, I'm going to share with you my hair secret. I'm always on the lookout for things you'd love and things that will enhance your well-being inside and out. We Unique Cosmetics sent me their Moisture Lock pomade and scalp and hair therapy oil from their Metamorphosis line, and it's so decadent, light, and nourishing, fam. This has become a hair routine staple. It has a soft lemongrass scent that people comment on when I walk by or when they're doing my hair because now I have boho locks. They also sent me a 15% discount link for you to try their products and hair tutorial service. And Unique Cosmetics is Black owned and operated by a mother and daughter duo dedicated to helping the adoptee community. Check out the link in the show notes. And this is for all ages, fam. So tell your friends. So come on, embark on a hair-loving journey with We Unique World. From interactive workshops to premium products, they're all about empowering you to embrace your unique hair journey. Because remember, all hair is good hair, especially when it's healthy. So here we are, almost half of the year in. Oh my God. I'm not ready for May to be over. My to-do list could scale the Grand Canyon. I'm sure you're out there trying to balance it all too. How is your heart? Was this week good to you? I hope so. You hear Harpier in the back? Yeah, she's going crazy. I'm not going to edit that out. You know what? While you listen to this intro, you could write an iTunes review. Yes, you can. And I thank you so much to those who've already contributed a few words as to how this podcast has been impacting them, because it helps to get more people access to this work and to this podcast and to me and all of it. So thank you so much. Harpier thanks you as well. I'm surprised by how replenishing these conversations have become for me. Last year, I felt the burden of these stories and this task at hand. This year, I am uplifted, rejuvenated, and inspired by listening to these beautiful souls and their stories. Interviewing adoptees has turned into a welcomed respite from the daily haul and grind. Today's interview is a testament to perseverance. I connected with Obakeng via the social medias, and we recorded this interview twice last year because we had so many technical difficulties due to him being in the country of Botswana. There's about 7-hour difference between us. The first recording was not even intelligible at all. It was terrible. Then we tried again and it was passable. But then in January, I found another server because Zoom was just not doing it. It was not hacking it at all. This new server enhanced the clarity exponentially. There's a lesson here because the circumstances didn't change. We had the same equipment and location, but our approach shifted. If you are ready to feel moved and pumped up, Obakeng is a natural orator who will spur you to stand up and get to it, no matter what your beliefs are. And we celebrate all beliefs here, by the way. He will invite you to recognize the love that has already resided in you, all along. He is such a brilliant mind and radiant force in this world. Here is my brother in solidarity from the country of Botswana, Obakeng.
Oh my gosh. The compliments of the new year.
Yes. Compliments of the new year.
She's in the
Indeed.
building, Lanice. She's in the building. I'm so excited. Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I can't believe this. Oh my
I
gosh,
know.
guys. It's been a minute.
It has. I think it's been about 4 months or so.
Really.
And I'm so thrilled that I think this will work this time.
No, it will work.
It already sounds
better. Yeah.
It sounds so much better. So I'm thrilled that you could be a part of this. How have you been? What have you been up to? How's your family?
My family, they're doing good. Just taking over and making sure that we cover up for any paddle that has been there and keep going with life, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what have you been up to? Just working and things like that?
Yeah, I've been working, mostly that I've been working in church. So at the same time, it's church every time because doing the administrational work and financial work. So it's been a hectic time, since most of that in the organization we are on transition,
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's still a tiny bit of interference, but I think I can edit around it. Do you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you definitely okay. And we gonna do this time. They ain't nothing gonna stop us.
Look at I love your determination.
Yeah.
Yes.
But sis, I'm so excited to hear your voice. Like, woo. Anyway. Oh man.
Me too. So let's get to it. And I just want to know more about your adoption story. I know last time we talked about the article pertaining to adoption in the continent of Africa, but you are in Botswana.
Yes.
And what was your story?
So my story was like, of which now things have actually expanded in terms of how it came about. A lot of information is coming out. So like my life has been like, when I grew up with no parents, of which they both passed away in the same year, the year after I was born, that is 96. So then I got to be adopted by my aunt, and of which it took me a long time to settle life and believe that I have a family. But all the time it was even hard for me to call her my mother, even up to now. But I still say she's my aunt. So my growing up was a bit difficult, but a bit also emotionally challenging. More so that I never had the closure, like of a mother and a father could have for that child. So it's been a difficult situation for me, and in the sense that I always wish that my mom and my dad was there. So everything could be given, but one thing that really lagged in my life was the emotional support, So
what happened to your parents? Do you mind me asking?
No, we're going to be transparent on it. on this, sis. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
This is when we are young, so we're gonna do this and we're gonna spit it
Okay.
out, you know? You're like, okay. Okay. Yeah, so what happened to my parents is I had the story that actually they were both they fell sick, and but on the side of my mom, my brothers, they actually, and my also coming to from my aunt, my other aunt, like my mom's older sister. She told me about that my mom actually was somehow poisoned, you know,
Hmm.
somehow poisoned in order for them to grab her womb and use it for that traditional or herbalistical stuff, you know. So,
Mm.
but at that time I was still in the womb, but it didn't prosper. So up until when I was born, that they managed to do whatever they did. I don't know. It's their story, and I wouldn't be like, yeah, I know all that happened. No, but I'm not sure, you know, because people can tell you all those kind of stories. So
Hmm.
my dad, I don't know much about, but I happened to like last year, more especially, I got to meet my dad's family side, but not more of them. But I met the siblings, like my aunt and the two brothers. So they told me about my dad, of which I got to find out about certain things that I've been struggling with as a boy growing to being a man, you know, like struggling with
Mm.
the issue of understanding where do I get these things. Like showing kindness is one of my love language, and it's actually from my dad. And my
Mm.
dad had a calling from God. It's same thing. It fell on me again. I didn't know what was happening with my life up until they started unleashing out everything, and I kept on knocking my head. I was like, "Oh, okay." Boom, 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 boom. So a lot of dots started coming, and I compiling them together. It made a clear picture of what I'm really made of, you know, since also my dad
Mm.
was artistic and I grew up loving to do arts. Even up to this time, I love art. And so I'm just, I'm just getting there because something that really pushed me was to like, we get to struggle with the issue of strings attached. Something like a daddy issue string or a mommy issue string, you know. So
Mm.
that is one thing that really made me to still seek for the information so that I can be able to protect my offsprings in time where I am. Before they can come, I'll be prepared to know how I cut all other strings loose because I don't want the same thing to happen to my kids, you know. So
Yeah.
that is that about my mom and dad, of which my mom was also someone who's multi-talented, of which again, it's in me. It's one of those things that
Mm.
I was there, just there, like someone in on air, and they just find themselves like caught up in the air and just there, and they don't know what is going on. So, but at
It's
least I
always
got to
exciting
know.
to
Yeah.
find out what you've inherited from your biological parents, right?
Yeah.
Because you talk about your dad being an artist, and
Yeah.
my biological mom was a teacher, and I've taught a lot, and I do feel a calling to
Teach.
teach people, to mentor people,
Come on.
and it was fascinating to find that out, right? And
Come
what
on.
kind of artist was your dad?
Like he used to make furnitures. Like he was a
Uh,
well-known expert of Botswana to like everything
mm,
before it goes out or if something comes in, he is taken to him first to go check if it's the good thing, it is the spot on, like it's the in thing, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
again, my dad was an like he was drawing, he was good in drawing, you know, like that kind of an artist who would draw you walking and still make shadows of you walking, you know, that like they said how the sister even described him was like your dad was to the point where he would even just like anything that is when he draws he you get the clear picture of the person that you are from his drawings,
Mm.
you know. That's how
Wow.
deep he was. And my dad was one type of dude who was like show mostly, and it happens also in me, like in terms of showing kindness to people, but mostly women, like
Oh my
so
goodness.
then
Well,
so
is that
then
kindness? I love
it
that you call that kindness.
yeah, isn't like to like every time, even when a woman thinks something like things all men are trash, my dad would have that
Mm,
kind of style of making the thing to vanish out of a woman, the mindset of men are trash out of their system, of showing them that
mm,
who are the real men, you know.
mm.
Like that's how I think my dad somehow he was like that kind of dude who's like charming, handsome, you know. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh, you. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of charm in your family, and good for you,
oh
right?
my
I think
god.
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, it's interesting that you say that because I feel that I've gotten my hardness from my
Mhm.
mom, and I used to be a very repressed, suppressed person.
Mhm.
And I used to be very rigid in my way of thinking and
Yeah.
just how I interacted with people. And I've since opened up and made myself available and inserted that kindness that you talk about. But that was just like a defense mechanism that I had that I learned and acquired in order to survive with
Mhm.
all the wounds that I hadn't addressed within myself. And so
Yeah.
when I met my mom and the things that I've heard about my mom, people say
Mhm.
that she's difficult
Yeah.
to be with or around, and that's fascinating because I do feel that in my past there were elements of that of being
Mhm.
difficult and being not
Yeah.
really amenable or amicable when it came to other people. But I love
Mhm.
that you have really taken away the greatness and the goodness that your parents had, and you hold that dear and in reverence.
Yeah. I must say to you something that I
Yeah.
also, I mean, it's a thing, sis, it's a thing where I got to realize that more so that, you know, when you grow up as an adoptee or an orphan, it's somehow a bit tricky and
Hmm.
challenging. And the most root problem of it is it's not anything around you. It's a thing called, I don't want to say a sense of like lacking a sense of belonging, but I don't want to put it in that manner. But I want to put it into the point where like it's a thing that revolves inside between these two types. Like and often to me it's like a wild kid. And now you have the heart of a son. A son is that one who's just home and they are at rest and they know that they are covered, they are all secured, they are insured. But an orphan is that one who's like, I gotta grind, I gotta hustle hard, I gotta do this. Everybody gotta recognize me, you know. But there comes all the aggression and everything. But I just got to realize that, you know what, being a son, you lay low. Like it was my bro, Fat Joe, who was like a lay back. I lay back.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with this issue of an orphan heart up until 2 months ago.
Hmm.
Actually, 3 months ago, God actually helped me to realize the root problem of all things. Because I mean, I've been living life. Yeah, I accepted Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. Yeah, but I never got to realize something of experiencing, because all this time I've been in a knowing point of view, not experiencing, because knowledge is a different thing to experiencing the knowledge. I don't know if I
Hmm.
make sense there.
Hey, I want to share with you something that has changed my life. It's more like someone, my therapist. Why is she so important? Well, because I want to win in this life. I want to break through the carousel of stories I've compiled that hold me back, that keep me from expanding into my full potentiality. Stories of unworthiness, not enoughness, and even stories of questioning why I am here. I also want to stop dumping my unsorted feelings on the people around me and reacting with the same behavioral patterns that keep me stuck. Conversations with my therapist have made me more confident, clearer in my intention, and more centered in my spirit. That is why I am elated that we are sponsored by BetterHelp, where you can, from wherever you happen to be right now, match with a therapist tailored to your exact needs. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. Someone who you can text at any time and schedule online for either a chat, Zoom, or phone call. And if it turns out that your therapist isn't the right fit, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional cost. Visit the link in the show notes, betterhelp.com, when they were young, to get 10% off the first month. You need to click the link in the show notes in order to get the 10% discount. I want to see you win, beloved. Let's do it together. Visit the link, betterhelp.com, when they were young. You do make
Yeah.
sense.
At that point,
And
yeah,
oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. And to that point, I realized that, you know what? Oh, no wonder I've been like this. Every time when I'm in a place, I would run away. I won't be consistent. I won't be there for so long. But every time my head is in going there, going there, going there, of which there is no foundation laid in my life. And that
Hmm.
scatters everything. And I want to say this to everyone who's adopted or everyone who's like an orphan. I want to say to them that they shouldn't allow this heart to penetrate their lives. They can have dreams, they can have gifts operating all over, but it is always in a perspection or in that um, spotlight of people seeing that this person likes something of which they are not tamed somehow. They can't experience love in a home. They are just
Mm-hmm.
around the world. They are not home. They are not at rest. Because the heart of an orphan or a heart of an adoptee, sometimes it operates, not sometimes, but it always operates in this base of doing things in order to be loved or recognized, um, doing things to wish to be like other things in a manner that you're trying to be having the picture of the same people that you think they will actually bring you to your to your dreams, but you're actually away from what you are wishing for. I don't know if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So
You make so much sense.
And so when you leave to please people. Please people in a manner that you are too ambitious. And I'm not talking about anyone, but I'm talking about myself, of how I got to be exposed from all these things. I got to realize that, oh, boo boo, you gotta sit yourself down. And I actually had to pep talk myself. I'll be like, ooh, man, so you've been a fool all this time. You've been like trying to make it, give people a wrong picture of who you are. And when it's like that, it puts you in a danger that people cannot be, or people won't be able to help you in anything in terms of life. You know, you are there trying to engage people, everyone. You are not able to recognize who's actually good for the surrounding, or actually who's there who loves you, but you are just there to engage everyone. That is means of you are not even aware of the garbage that you are putting around your life. So but now I got to sit down with myself. And then God came in through. He's like, yo, son, it's like this. You know the story of the prodigal son and the elder son.
Yes.
So to that
Yes.
point, there's a pattern that I saw somewhere there. Though we always focus on the prodigal son still had a heart of a son, though it was hurts and pains and frustrations and all disappointments. But when you look at something here, we have an elder son home. He's just home, but to him, the home was a place to sleep, eat, and work. So the elder son, at this point, he was actually working in order for him to be recognized, for him to be given all this stuff. But he never realized that actually whatever that is around him that is of his dad, it's also his. You get it? So to the point where he even worked, so he toiled. He worked himself like a slave. To the point where the dad was like, yo, bro, what's going on with you? Like, why you toiling? Why you doing all this? Like, up in here, why you like you are enslaved, you are put into chains. That is why he was like, oh, so my bro comes back home and you never recognize me. I've never disappointed you. I've never done this 1, 2, 3. I've never hit on girls. I've never did parties. I've been all that kind of cool dude in this house, and I've been working so hard, my butt out every morning. But you never recognize, you never acknowledge me, and yet he was not aware that everything, the servant in the father's yard, was actually his servant, of no avail of information and knowledge and understanding and experience. That means he's been around, but his heart was in the wilderness.
Wow.
You see that part? That's one thing that made me. And I was there. I'm like, yo, God, what are you trying to say to me? And God says to me, the thing is, you've been having this issue. Yes, it's been a root of all the things in your life. That is why you never attained or engaged a lot of things around you and they've been sustained. It's because you've been struggling with the orphan heart. So this heart cannot be casted away, but it can only be replaced with the son heart. Until you accept me as your father and you accept yourself that you are my son and you are the son in the house, you don't have to do anything in order for you to be loved. You just need to know that no matter whatever, everything that I have is yours. I'm like, whoa, okay. Not only in my house of like church, but also around when you are at work, you're going to work knowing that you're actually home. You're not working as if you are moving the next day, but you gotta put your clothes in the closet and know that you have your room, you have your own bed, you have your computer, you have your everything that you're in need of. So unpack your bag and settle and allow yourself to be taken care of. And here I am, sis. And I want to tell my fellow brothers out there that it's not about making it out there. It's about having settlement in your heart, knowing that you are loved. Don't seek love anywhere else, but the love starts from God, you know. So,
Mm.
and then it goes down with to other people.
Wow. You just took my breath away with all of that because there's so much truth, right?
Come
The
on.
idea of being loved
Yeah.
just for who you are and
Yeah.
acknowledging that you already have that love is
Come on.
huge
Come
because
on.
you're absolutely right. A lot of adoptees, including myself, let me speak for myself,
Come on.
have spent a lifetime trying to be worthy of something that they
Ooh.
already have earned.
Come
They
on.
already have it,
Come on.
right?
Come on.
And because of some story in their head or the past, their interpretation of the past,
Mm.
they have convinced themselves
Mm-hmm.
that they are at a deficit, that
Come
they
on.
have to continuously prove themselves. And they don't have to do that. And that's something that I'm reckoning with
Come on.
still.
Come on. So it's a thing, like you're saying, it's a thing that sometimes you're there, you wanna feel loved, you wanna do this, you end up making even silly mistakes, your insecurities, you get exposed, and you start thinking that people hate you, but people ain't hating you. It's just you with your bitterness inside, you know. So it's a point of like it's a thing that actually, if we can come to an acceptance to know that before you even knew about it, we need to, number one thing, forgive ourselves and come
Mm.
to a full inventory of the person we are. Because what we think we are is actually a lie. And can I say this? The enemy is trying to subdue or absorb the real truth from us because of the nature of what is happening around us. If I'm born and my father and my mom are not there, and I'm having someone who's not actually my mom or my dad, I tend to think that I'm more so less than others. You start even having comparison, which is actually pulling you out of the track of your dream and your settlement in life. You start not,
Hmm.
you start being blinded of seeing the real truth of everything. So every time you're doing things, like you get to buy things in order for people to accept you. You buy gifts in order for people to say, okay, since you're buying gifts, we'll get to buy you. In your relationships, amen. Here's the thing. Even when like boyfriends or husband, all these things, this heart, it's really so dangerous and it's so toxic. And mostly, since we've been facing a lot of gender based violences around the world,
Hmm.
it's a thing that is not only caused by men being or women being like so bougie and angry and mad and all funny characters. It's just a thing that has long been growing all this time, and it has been nurtured to the element where it becomes a tree with big roots that I even have tapped down, deep, deep. So it's a thing that whenever people engage into certain platforms, they end up messing up because why? They're trying to make it happen, but it's not getting there. Why? Because they think it's all in working hard for you to believe that you are loved, or you are kind of like you 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 somehow being able to grab whatever they are wishing for, whatever they want to have, more so like other people around the world. So it kills. It's a fungal thing or a bacterial thing that slowly eats you, and you're never experiencing the love that actually can be. Because I mean, look at it this way. Look at it this way, sis, that love itself, it brings value. Like you can never
Mm-hmm.
experience love
Mm-hmm.
with no value, because love itself values an individual. Its nature, it's full of value. So they know where how someone can go to Romeo or Demario or Shanae or Ruxanza to be like, hi, I love you. What is that? People don't know what they're really talking about. They're just giving themselves what pop culture can teach them, like you gotta buy flowers, you gotta do this. But everything is not sustained out of the foundation of love. When you have someone to love you and you know that you are loved, and not just knowing it, but also experiencing it. I mean, I've realized that I've come to a realization that love actually doesn't go with feelings. Ouch. I know it's gonna mess with people's theology. But love is not based in feelings. Love is always based on facts. Because facts have no feelings. So So it's a thing that it goes with its own layer. That is the layer of love. I mean, patience, kindness, endurance. You never find yourself even recording mistakes that other people do or what you do. You don't even become hard on yourself. You understand that it's a pattern of life. It's a life in progression. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so those are the kind of things that when we are raised or groomed at, they actually bring us up to the point where
Mm-hmm.
we have a solid foundation. Even when I say to the baby girl, I'll be like, girl, I know what I'm talking about when I say I love you. And you get to take the experience you have, and even God pours more of that experience into your life in order to for you to be able to manage or to steward around your family. If you get to have your family, your relationships, your job, your anything around that is around you, you know, it's something that is so solid, unique, and tangible and authentic and vulnerable to God, and being able to be vulnerable to those who are grooming you, like your mentors, you know. So yeah.
I, I I just want to speak on
Yeah.
one of the many profound things that you said. Something that struck me
Come
was
on.
you have to be able to forgive yourself. And there's a meme that I found that said
Come
the
on.
most radical thing that you could
Yeah.
do is forgive yourself. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that is the key, right?
Yeah.
For anyone, for any human
Come
being, is
on.
forgiving yourself, forgiving your story,
Yes.
forgiving your perceived
Let's go.
failures, your perceived harms,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
letting them go. And
Yeah.
and it's a huge
Yeah.
hurdle to
Yeah.
overcome psychologically, but once you
Mm-hmm.
get there, there's so much
Mm-hmm.
freedom. You're just liberated,
Mm-hmm.
and life will literally change
Mm-hmm.
once you're able to forgive yourself
Mm-hmm.
and say it is not your fault. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge one for
Mm-hmm.
adoptees. It is not your
Mm-hmm.
fault. Whatever story you have created is
Actually,
not
you
your
can
fault.
I see this? You find out that actually the pictures that we have in our minds or in our head, they're actually being groomed by a smaller piece of a thing, to like, oh, because someone passed in a comment to say, um, oh, who are you? Who do you think you are? Those are not your parents, so you're not that valuable. Those kind of bully words, they end up coming into someone's system, and they start building time to time. And as they are building time to time, what happens is you start being bitter on yourself. You start doing, like, you cut yourself, you go for drugs, you go for this in order for you to try run away from this kind of issue that is haunting you down. Instead of understanding that there is actually a thing that can help you. I like one of the key points that I know they actually help in terms of releasing the unforgiveness, the bitterness, the weariness in you, and coming to the full acceptance. It's just the point of being vulnerable, and not just being vulnerable. But okay, yeah, authenticity is good, yes, but vulnerability is the highest level of it. That brings you to transparency. And to the people that actually, but well, some will face, like I faced a lot of challenges in terms of transparency to different people and being vulnerable. But I found myself never getting there, because also at the same time I was demanding to have money from people, demanding to actually be like try to manipulate people in order for them to give me money. You know, it's a thing. You are telling your story for people to feel sorry for you, or to feel pity for you, to like, oh, okay, I'm really sorry, but you can have this. Like, that's how a way I used to be so manipulative in that point, of which it damaged a lot of my things in life. And then I still sat down, because there was also a gift in me, or the love, the kindness in me, that actually I'm a people's person. I love serving people. I love people, and I've been hurt for so many times, and it's been so hectic for me to engage into a lot of events. But I coming to the realization to like being vulnerable. I go to pray to God, because God still has a pattern of life. He still has the plan that is good. So if a man who never lied and his promises never went away from us or from me, I had to trust in that process to like, your Father, please direct me or take me to the right places that you actually have established for my healing. And God still answered me. I remember I moved from the city, Gaborone, where I actually got, at that time, it was in 2018 December. He was like, you know what? Hey man, I need you to just don't even think about anything. Don't look back. Just pack your bags and just leave to a place called Maung. This is a tourism, a hospitality and tourism section. Like that's what happens. It's a safari destination places, in Africa. One of the safari designated places in Africa. Like, if you know of the Okavango Delta, right? Just to give you a hint on the place. So I moved to this side. Like, as I'm talking to you, says, I'm in this place, and there is a church called Village Church, of which the vision is loving people, changing lives, shaping futures. And actually, it is not just in knowing that, it is in experiencing that love. It is in experiencing that transformation. It is in experiencing that clarity of my future, you know. So out of that prayer, it really changed everything. I got to accept myself as I am. I got to understand that I'm not an orphan, but I am loved and I'm the son of God. God loves me even before I even thought of it. That is why I'm even here right now talking this boldly and so courageous and so passionate about it, because why? I fell in the hands of love. And it got to transform things around me. And I'm in progression and growing, knowingly that I'm no longer a boy, but growing to being a man. I chose to that point of being a man and understanding that I can be vulnerable, that people who can listen to me and even help me, they don't even look down on me, but they see me valuable, you know. And the element of working, not because I want
Wow.
to be paid,
Wow. And
but I work, I live life not because to earn that one, two, three, but I live life to the fulfillment of the love in God. And I'm able to express myself like I'm not afraid, like I'm just sewing like an eagle up now, you know, and I'm able to help others out of that. That those wounds have been covered up, and now I'm able to even show others. Even when someone who's a drunkard's out there, I'm actually being excited when they come crying, saying I'm doing all this, or when they say I've given my life. More especially, I have other guys who actually adoptees who are orphans also, but I get to show them that no, the root problem is actually this heart of thinking that you have no one, but whereas people are around you who are actually loving you, you know, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to strive to get things. Because I've been studying about being a son. Sons always don't have to work hard in order for them to get inheritance or something, but they do things knowingly that they are valued and they are loved. That's it. When they make mistakes, they know who to be vulnerable to. So I have my pastors, I have my sisters here. I'm like, I don't even have to be hiding myself, but I'm confident enough to even talk to them and tell them about my sexuality, my everything. Because before I can take it to people, I take it to God, you know. That's where I get even full confidence to go to my mentors, my leaders, to even talk to them about it, my situation. Like, yo, I'm just going around sleeping with women. And I feel like it's not okay for me. Like, it somehow, it's grabbing all that actually could be contained for what is good, for what is actually God ordained for me. That is a marriage, that is a container that can be able to bring life. But instead of me waiting, I'm going around with quarters in my pockets, sleeping around, and that is actually also at the same time what? Damaging me. So in that manner, I have people to talk to tell them, hey guys, I'm struggling with one, two, three. So they be like, okay, no, this is how you go, man. We experienced this, but this is how we have dealt with it, and now we can even help you. And you shouldn't be hard on yourself. Know that it's part of life. If you have faced it, you have faced it. You
yeah,
don't have to condemn yourself. You don't have to neglect that. You are in the process of growth. You know?
exactly. And you shouldn't feel shame for
Come
the
on.
exploration of who you
Come
are.
on.
And you speak of
Yeah.
courage. Where in your life, Obakeng, can you apply courage? Where in your life can
In
you
terms
apply
of like
courage?
I maybe I'm not getting you right. Like
Well, in your life, in
mhm.
any facet of your life, how can you show up
um
courageously?
I don't know if I understand you well, but I somehow okay.
Well, let me explain. Well, let me clarify because
Yeah,
in
yeah.
every episode I ask this
Yeah, I
question, and I think I asked this to
remember.
you
It's a
before of
catch
just
word.
like for me, you know, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
tricky question that I like to ask. And
Mm-hmm.
for an example in my life, like I have
Mm-hmm.
some job prospects right now that are
Mm-hmm.
going to ask me
Mm-hmm.
to show up for myself, show
Mm-hmm.
up for what it is that I believe in, and have courage in the sense
Mm-hmm.
of my knowledge, and know
Mm-hmm.
that I have everything that I need in order to
Mm-hmm.
succeed if I were to get this position, if I were to make this shift in my career, that I would be taken care of. And that takes courage to have faith in the higher power so that I can find my highest and greatest self.
One thing that actually have courage in terms of where one thing that I've realized is, if I remember growing up, as I grew up, there's always the word, this cuss word that has always said that you're a great man, or there's greatness in you, you know. So, but getting to explore myself, getting to discover myself, I realized that, you know what, I have this person in me that is so loving and so courageous in terms of doing what is good and showing kindness to people, working with people. Like I said, I love people, and people are my passion, you know. So then it's a point where I was like I was like it's a thing where I said to myself, even in terms of a job or a position, I nowadays understood that, even especially in our situation like this, in this pandemic issue, I got to the element of volunteering, you know, volunteering in the sense that I'm not looking at
Yeah.
the value of money, but I'm looking at the value of what I believe in, that is loving and serving people. And I got to understand that before I can do that, I need to experience it myself, so that the time when I take it out, it comes with full assurance and boldness. So every time when I do things, I no longer do them to earn money. Yes, money is important, but money is the last thing to think about, or the fifth or sixth thing to think about. Because why? Value is brought by what is inside of you, what you bring out. So, me in serving people, that is now, it took me to the point of even falling into the position of doing administrational work and financial work. You know, I got to be exposed to areas that I thought I was not privileged to, but actually it was actually me inside, that financer, that administrator, that manager. I got to realize that,
Yeah.
okay, this is being around here. So I got to realize that, you know what, it's in the point of just doing what you love best. And doing what you love best is the real person in you. Just be honest with yourself, that if you feel like the job that it can earn you might be earning a salary of 10,000 US dollars, maybe you are earning $5,000, but your heart is not in it. That is a dangerous thing. But it's better to go for something that you know that you won't be earning anything at that time, but one day it's going to sustain you. You know, I remember. Yeah.
Well, and to have courage in trusting your value system, as opposed to falling prey to what society deems you should have or need, but knowing that you can trust in your value of serving, and know that through that you
Yeah.
achieve your higher self.
So it is through serving.
Yeah. Yeah. Through serving. Yes. I love that. Well, this has been so illuminating, Obakeng, and I so appreciate you taking the time to talk to me again and to impart all of this
Yeah.
wisdom to the
Come
listeners.
on.
It's going to blow people's minds. I know I was just stunned by how well you articulate yourself, and how you move through the world is so
Yeah.
inspiring.
But
So thank you
also,
for
if
that.
you allow me, the last thing that I can say, that actually just grabbed my attention is that, you know what? Listen, my brother, my sister, or my grandpa, whether you are there, you still have the opportunity. It's for you to be able to expand in life. It's for you to get inside the person and set yourself inside. Take time with yourself. Get to not be afraid to be exposed to the person that you are. With the help also of knowing that there's a divine Father who's around you all the time, who's like, he said he'll never leave you nor forsake you. And indeed, I'm a testimony of that. Because right now, as I can tell you, I'm no longer afraid, but I'm so relaxed and in rest. Why? Because now I know what I gotta do. So it's no longer a tricky part. And I want to tell them that even though it doesn't make sense right now, it will make sense one day. No matter how you may still cut your hands, try to do anything to in order to experience pain. Hey, we said some cast word that is forgiving yourself. So yeah. So this is OBK from Botswana, Africa. We here, we live. So one day I will be with you, sis. I don't know where, but yeah, around the world.
Here are my reflections. 1. Being adopted sometimes engenders an orphan heart, or the heart of an adoptee, a mindset that you have to grind and prove your worth in order to be loved. I definitely had this mentality and will still have this mentality, and I'm working through to heal this orphan heart. 2. Kindness is a love language. It can be given like anything else. 3. Are you able to recognize who loves you? In the pursuit of acceptance, can you see that love already exists where you are right now? 4. Love is not based in feelings. It's based on facts. For example, I can literally list the actions I have witnessed in my mom and godmother that could be interpreted as love by anyone around the world. Their love is an objective truth that anchors me to this world. 5. Whatever story you have created is not your fault. Whatever story you have created is not your fault. You are in progress and growing. Allow that growth to happen, my friends. Now there it is. Such an uplifting dialogue with the man who will change the world. I am sure of it. You can find Obakeng on Instagram and Facebook. Let me know how you feel about this episode on Instagram at Young Adoptee. You can find adoption resources at laniceantoineshelley.com. I have found great joy in this episode. I loved re-listening to it, and it just made me so happy. Another beautiful episode. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to my guest today. If you liked this episode, the best way to support me and this work is to write an iTunes review, a 5-star review. This helps us reach the top of searches and helps more people to find us. And if you personally want to connect, please reach out on Instagram or Facebook. And I have some great resource material on my website at laniceantoineshelley.com. So go on over there too. Until next we meet, go gently and have courage, my love.